Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Today we would like to presentation about the next material of principles of language assessment. There are validity and authenticity. But before we continue to the explanation, let me introduce the members of this group. Okay, the first is me, Yan Alfasana, as a moderator and also presenter. The next is Rika Wafik Tanisa as the second presenter, and then Restu Andini Wulandari as a presenter. Okay, for the next, we have to the explanation about the material of validity and authenticity. The first material about validity will be delivered by Rika Wafik Anissa. The times is yours.
Okay, thank you, Yeyen. Hello, I am Rika Wafik Tanisa. Here I would like to explain about definition of validity, content-related evidence, and criterion-related evidence. Okay, the first one is validity. Validity, the extent to which inferences made from assessment results are appropriate, meaningful, and useful in terms of the purpose of the assessment. Graham Lord, 1998. And validity of a test, the extent to which it exactly measures what it's supposed to measure. Here's 2003. So validity, the most complex criterion of an effective test and arguably the most important principle. Measure what is designed to measure without contamination from other characteristics. Okay, for example, if a student is given a reading test on social inequality, a valid test would measure reading ability, such as identifying general or specific information from a text, not prior knowledge, sociology of social inequality. The test must make students rely on reading ability to complete the test. From Brown's book, there are 5 types of validity evidence. Content-related evidence, criterion-related evidence, construct-related evidence, consequential validity, and the last phase validity. Next slide. Okay, content-related evidence. If a test actually samples the subject matter about which conclusion are to be drawn, and if it requires the test taker to perform the behavior that is being measured, it can claim content-related evidence of validity, often popularly referred to as context validity. Musavi and Hughes. The correlation between the contents of the test and the language skills, structure, etc., with which it means to be measured has to be crystal clear. And then the test items should really represent the course objective. For example, if you try to assess someone's speaking ability, and then you ask to answer multiple choice or essay question that require grammar, this does not exceed content validity. Well, if the test requires the learner to actually speak, validity indicates how well the speaking test perform at that level. In an authentic context, this will exceed content validity. Next slide. Criterion-related evidence. This kind of validity emphasizes on the relationship between the test score and the outcome. The test score should really represent the criterion that is intended to measure in the test. Criterion validity can be established through 2 ways. The first point is concurrent validity. A test is said to have concurrent validity if its result is supported by other concurrent performance beyond the assessment itself. Brown 2004. For example, the validity of a high score on the final examination of a foreign language course will be verified by the actual proficiency in the language. And the last, predictive validity. The predictive validity tends to assess and predict to student possible future success. Alderson, for example, TOEFL or IELTS tests are intended to know how well somebody will perform the capability of his or her English in the future. Okay, that's all from me. Back to moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rika Wafik, for the explanation. Okay, the next material about validity will be delivered by me. Okay, the next kind of validity is construct-related evidence. A construct is any theory, hypothesis, or model that attempts to explain observed phenomena in our universe of perceptions. According to Jiwando, construct validity shows that the result of the test really represents the same construct with the ability of the students which is being measured. Nah, apa sih construct related evidence ini? Jadi validitas konstruk atau construct validity ini menunjukkan bahwa hasil tes benar-benar mewakili konstruk yang sama dengan kemampuan siswa yang diukur. For the example, misalkan nih ya, reading test is valid if it matches with reading construct, and speaking test needs to be valid by it is constructs. Now, what is the reading construct and what is the speaking construct? Nah, apa sih construct reading sama construct test speaking ini yang tadi disebutkan? Nah, seperti yang diketahui bahwa tujuan tes membaca atau tes reading ini adalah untuk pemahaman atau comprehension, terus untuk membaca pemahaman yang mencakup gagasan utama gitu, main idea, informasi yang dinyatakan secara eksplisit, informasi tersirat, dan juga makna dari kosakata. Nah, maka unsur pemahaman dalam tadi yang telah disebutkan ini adalah konstruksi membaca atau reading contracts. Nah, selanjutnya dalam speaking test nih ya, dalam speaking test ini sama gitu ya, include all this element we can say bahwa speaking test, construct of speaking test include fluency, pronunciation, content gitu ya, organization, grammar atau diction gitu. When a speaking test measure all these, we can say that the test is valid by construct. This also mean that when we test speaking and the focus is only the length of speech, it can be said the test lack construct validity. Nah, jadi construct validity itu kalau misalkan tes membaca harus valid dengan konstruknya. Konstruknya apa saja sih? Yang tadi pemahaman, membaca apa sih comprehension gitu ya. Terus makna dari kosakatanya. Nah, kalau misalkan tes speaking, ini konstruknya apa aja? Grammar, diksi gitu ya, diction, atau organisasinya, atau misalkan pengucapannya gitu ya, kelancarannya, itu termasuk konstruk dari speaking. Nah, kalau misalkan fokusnya hanya ke panjang bicara aja, itu maksudnya dikatakan bahwa tes tersebut validity tesnya itu memiliki validitas konstruk yang rendah gitu ya, atau tidak memiliki validitas konstruk. Oke, the next slide. Oke, the next is consequential related evidence. Dari namanya aja kan udah kedengar ya, consequential, berarti konsekuensi gitu, mengacu pada dampak sebuah tes bagi para peserta. Nah, consequential validity, according to Brown, encompasses all the consequences of a test. And as its attended criteria, its impact on the preparation of test takers, its effect of the learner, and intended and unintended social consequence test interpretation. Nah, jadi consequential validity ini atau validitas konsekuensial ini tes bagi para peserta tes. Misal, example, ketika tes atau sebuah ujian, misalkan final exam gitu ya, misalkan harus dilakukan menggunakan internet, melalui Oke, kita lanjut ya. I'm sorry for the unstable signal. Oke, the next kita lanjut pembahasannya tentang konsekuensial yang tadi ya. Nah, kalau misalkan si muridnya mengatakan bahwa dia tidak sanggup gitu ya menggunakan internet ketika ujiannya, nah itu berarti tesnya tidak valid gitu. Karena consequential related evidence ini yang mengacu pada sebuah tes bagi para peserta, mengacu pada dampaknya gitu ya. Oke, the next slide. Okay, the last kind of validity is face validity. According to Mosavi, face validity refers to the degree to which a test looks right and appears to measure the knowledge or abilities it claims to measure based on the subjective judgment of the examiners who take it. The administrative personnel who decide on this use and other psychometrically unsophisticated observers. Nah, jadi face validity itu apa sih? Face validity ini yang ini gitu ya, yang menyangkut penampilan atau kan ini face gitu ya, penampilan dari tes tersebut. Nah, we may think that a written test doesn't look suitable for testing speaking. Ya nggak sih? Kami mungkin berpikir bahwa tes tertulis tidak cocok untuk pengujian berbicara gitu ya. Atau misalkan, multiple choice grammar test seems unsuitable as a test for writing. Ya kalau misalkan tes writing pakai multiple choice itu kan nggak ini ya, maksudnya nggak cocok gitu ya untuk tes writing gitu. Nah, dalam contoh kasus ini, written test for speaking and grammar test for writing. The test lack face validity. Jadi validitasnya itu diragukan ya. Nah, the lacks of the test lie in the incomplete construct of speaking and writing. The correct face validity is when speaking is tested through speaking and writing is tested through writing. Jadi kalau misalkan face validity ini ketika tes speaking melalui speaking gitu. Kalau misalkan tes tertulis atau tes writing, ya tesnya tes writing gitu. Jadi sesuai dengan face validity. That's all from me. Okay, the next material about authenticity will be delivered by Restu Andini. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. I will sharing about authenticity. Bachman and Palmer define authenticity as the degree of correspondence of the characteristics of a given language text to the features of a target language text. Simpelnya gini ya, maksud authenticity itu make a test that related to the real world. Jadi ketika kita membuat tes itu harus sesuai dengan apa yang sebenarnya tuh sesuai dengan prakteknya di dunia nyata. Okay. In the test, authenticity may be present in the following ways. The language in the test is as natural as possible. I'll give you some conversation. The first one is, what is your name? My name is Restu. Where are you from? I'm from Sukabumi. And the second one is, what's your name? Restu. Where are you from? Sukabumi. In the past, when we in the elementary school or junior high school, we learned that every single question must answer with full sentence. But in the real world, it's not like that. Jadi kalau misalnya yang kedua itu lebih natural dan juga emang biasa dipraktekkan di dunia nyata. Okay, next, items are contextualized rather than isolated. Maksud konteks di sini itu daripada tesnya itu daripada langsung ke the point, seperti misalnya menanyakan what's the meaning of culture, is better than to ask wayang, batik, gamelan are Indonesian culture. What is Indonesian culture? What is di pertanyaannya itu gak langsung to the point, tapi ada beberapa pembawaan dulu, lalu masuk ke pertanyaannya. Lalu next, topics are meaningful for the learner. Topics are meaningful, jadi daripada membuat pertanyaan yang ubah kalimat tersebut menjadi past tense atau simple tense atau tense lainnya, akan lebih baik jika kalian memberikan suatu situasi, contoh situasi, lalu bertanya masalah tentang apa sih? Kayak apa sih itu teh? Pendapat mereka. Kayak for example, Rika, your friend Yian, held the birthday party last week. What are you doing when you meet her? The expected answer is, if you had invited me, I would have come. Jadi mereka disuruh untuk berpikir lebih dalam. Selanjutnya ada some thematic organization to item is provided, such as drift, storyline, or episode. Akan lebih baik lagi jika suatu pertanyaan, misalnya kita tuh pengen ngetes anak tentang tensesnya, akan lebih baik diberikannya suatu story, sebuah cerita, dan anak disuruh untuk menganalisis apa tenses dari story tersebut. The last is tasks represent or closely approximate real world tasks. For example-nya, simple example-nya itu reading test. Jadi reading test-nya itu, si teksnya itu telah dipilih dari beberapa current issue dari majalah atau newspaper, lalu anak disuruh untuk menganalisisnya. Jadi sebagai kesimpulannya, authenticity itu adalah suatu tes yang harus melibatkan dunia nyata sebagai acuannya. That's all for me. I give it back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you very much for the explanation, Restu Andini. Okay, guys, that's all from our group about principles of language assessment, validity, and also authenticity. Thank you for kind attention. And then if you have a question, drop on the Schoology. That's all. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.